So last video I talked about some of the problems that I was facing, trying to go a little bit more minimalist on my dual sport. It's a 650, it's not a very large bike, so I wanted to see what I could get rid of, and that's what I was discussing in my last video. In this video I'm going to be showing you everything that I decided to keep and discard and how I was going to pack it. This is not a definitive guide. I'm no expert on motorcycle camping, but I've been doing it for a few years and I've gotten to be pretty confident in what works and what doesn't. There's just a few extraneous things, but most of the extraneous things come from, hey, how do I squeeze this all on a bike and have it not fall off? And you know, what can I get away with, the least amount of stuff I can get away with and still be comfortable and happy at camp when I get there.
Alright, so here's the problem. So I haven't moto camped in, golly, at least a year or two, and the last time I moto camped I overpacked. I had too much gear on the bike, so I'm trying to trim down this trip, this season, hopefully. But in essence, almost everything on this table has to go onto that bike. So I'm gonna walk through a few things on video and talk about the stuff that I'm taking, and talk about maybe some stuff that I'm maybe leaving behind. So let's go from right to left, because this is going to be towards the end of the stuff that that hopefully I can leave behind. So I've got a bunch of packing straps. These things are pretty much essential, because I'm gonna be carrying, well, where the heck, okay, well, maybe we should start in this box. Packing straps, I usually carry these on the bike, and I usually carry an empty bag here in case I want to stop and get groceries, because that's always on the bike. But that's not coming. Dry bags coming up here, and maybe camp chair. But I want to go through everything that's on the bike now. I keep one of these on the bike. It's I get a lot of flats, so this plugs into 12 volt, and it's good to have. I've used it several times. I've also got one of these guys. A lot of dirt bike guys carry these around. Can't hardly tell what it is anymore. I think it's like 15 bucks, but it's got CO2 charge in it. You just put it on like you would, blows the tire up. But that doesn't do you a whole lot of good if you're like me and you pinch your tire a lot. I try not to anymore, but anyway, I got that, and I got a lot of tools in here. Hopefully all the tools I need to keep the bike running. But this usually goes in there, so I'm going to pull this out, zip up my pack. Got a handy dandy flashlight. Harbor Freight, never let you down. It's very bright. Also got one of these guys. It's pretty good. It's also got a magnet on here. I don't have anything metal or steel. Anyway, and that's it. I've got a lock to just in case I want to lock my crap up. Usually I carry electronics in here, so it's good to have a locking box. So anyway, I'm going to start loading some of this stuff in here, because we know it's going. Stuff like camera equipment, definitely going, because I'm going to be shooting a lot of video this weekend. And this is my main blogging / adventure camera, because it goes everywhere. I'm just going to stick it in there. I've got a selfie stick for the for my cell phone. Fantastic. I mentioned that in a video a while back. And I'm contemplating some of this stuff, whether or not I'm taking it or not. this obviously, 2 action cameras. I'm wearing this one now on my head, and this stuff is going easy access into my tank bag. My tank bag's just about empty. I cleaned it out. I could probably put cameras and such in there too. It's easy access. I don't have to go in here. In fact, that may be exactly what I'm going to do. Easy access means I could take this thing on and off. So there it is. Some other stuff I've got in here. Always keep this in here. This is basically a for long trips like I'm going to be making this weekend's probably an hour and a half, 2 hours up to the trailhead. So it's going to be a few hours getting up there and back. Anyway, this clips on here and kind of relieves the pressure on your fingers. You can just lay on the throttle. It's kind of like poor man's cruise control. I've got all the sun-proof stuff in here. Got all my charging cables. Usually if I'm on a long trip, I'll run this out into put my cell phone or whatever in there. Sun protection and extra sunglasses in case I lose the ones I usually keep in my helmet. And that's going to be a lot of the stuff that goes. Oh, let's put this in here too. This is a battery bank, cell phone charger. Anyway, it's a one that I made. I put this together with a bunch of 18650s laptop batteries. Anyway, that's going in there. That'll charge my cameras at night. I can recharge them here during the day while I'm riding, but I like to keep my battery charged. So this is my adventure camera. It's been beaten to death, and it has a custom battery pack that I built. No more 18650s. You can see those down in there. Anyway, that's going with me. May want to do some time lapse. This is my time lapse camera. It's a nice camera, but it's been abused, so it's kind of there it is. A little Gorilla Pod. It's kind of got some miles on it too. Usually can't put anything more than a small camera on there, but I may be able to put my little handheld, just to show you this guy, since I'm not sure if I went over this. Canon with the rat tail. Fantastic camera. This actually might be going up in here. Yeah, all that will fit so far. Tobacco, gonna go probably up front in the tank bag, just because it fits and it's easy to get to. Lighter should be in here. Yes. Alright, so I got that. I got I'm gonna have to clean these utensils before I go. Here is camping gear. I think this should give me a couple of meals out of it still, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, this should give me a couple of meals, maybe some tea. This goes in here, bottom of that, and this is a titanium cookware kit. Keep your water boiling in there. Got a little cups in the bottom of this. What do you call these things? Plastic cups. Anyway, I need to wash all this gear off because that's kind of nasty. Anyway, camp stove all kind of packs up into here. Wow. Really cool camp stove. I think this was $30. Screws on top of the fuel canister. Packs down real nice and small, relatively. I may start experimenting with some alcohol stoves soon, but you never know. I think, yeah, this goes in here. and I've been real happy with my titanium setup. Cooks really fast, don't have to worry about melting anything because it's titanium, you know. Anyway, I like this setup because it kind of all goes in this one bag, and well, it did before I unpacked it all. Let's try this. Yeah, it's going to go back in there. And then utensils. I've had these forever. These are good nylon eatware utensils. Last a long time, lightweight. They don't rust. And well, they don't fit in the bag now for some reason. There we go. Keep that cinched up. So that, I'm not sure. I think I'm taking whiskey this time. I may take this cooler with me too, so I have the option of getting some beer if I want. I'm usually very thirsty after rides, so beer is usually a better option, but that packs down. This is the only meal I've got left over. I'm gonna have to get some more food before I go up there. This goes in the tank bag, and I think we're getting pretty close to sealed up on the tank bag. Yeah, so let's go ahead and close this thing up. This is relatively waterproof, but if you need to ensure no water penetration, I usually carry a dry bag, small dry bag in there. All right, that's ready to go. Yes, sir. So now we're moving on. Packing straps, we'll leave those over here for the side. Oh, this is pretty cool. My buddy Harvey rolled over and gave me this. He saw I was about to start doing some camping stuff. So he made this little cutting board. That's going in my little cooking supplies. That will be very cool. Camp knife, survival knife, Mora. I love this knife. Probably should have gotten a more abuse-friendly knife, but so far it hasn't rusted. I don't clean it that often, but that's an all-purpose knife. And probably all this stuff is going to go in the same small bag. Haven't really decided. Little first aid kit. I don't usually carry that stuff, but I'm probably going into the woods for 2 or 3 days this weekend. So there's that. Dry clothes and some I would call these worst case scenario dry clothes, best case scenario this is pajamas, so I can sleep comfortably. Rainfly stakes. I am hammock camping this weekend. Little cup for toddies. I like a nice cup for whiskey anyway, so that's got to go. A little bit bulky, but it'll be okay. Headgear for nappy head syndrome, just in case I go out in public. Fire steel, just in case. I've got one on the knife too. It's kind of cool, but just in case, I like to carry extras. This is going to go probably on some kind of a camera rig here. This is essential since what I'm doing this weekend is going to be doing a lot of riding and maybe some ride bys. So you put your tripod up on the side of a trail and capture the ride bys. It's kind of hard to capture the essence of dual sport riding just with action cameras. I've been doing it long enough to know that it adds so much to put a trailside camera. You know, you ride by it, it gives you a little bit more scale, gives you a little bit more of a detail on the the action, what's actually going on. It gives you a little bit more of a panorama. It adds flavor, and I'm down with flavor. This is my bath kit. I don't think I've got any soap, but I've got deodorant. I've got all my blood pressure, pain, toothpaste, aspirin, you know, the essentials in here. So I got that, and that's going in. Usually I keep this in the food personal bag, which is probably going to be that blue bag or something about that size. Then the next thing I've got is camp shoes. Got to get out of those sweaty boots. Paracord. I'm struggling with this because this is great for a campfire, chopping up some wood. I pulled out a saw. I haven't used this much. First few times I use this, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty awesome. But I usually feel like I can get through just as much wood with hacking my way through with this machete. And this takes a long time unless you want to make nice clean cuts. So I'm probably going to leave this most likely. Gonna try to pack this down if I can, and then underquilt or underpad. I'm hammock camping, so if it gets cold at night, and it probably will, at least in the 60s, maybe the high 50s, I'll be at altitude. I'll have 1,500 feet under my butt. But when you're hanging in a hammock, and I'll explain this later when I set up my hammock, when you're hanging in the hammock, your heat gets sucked out by convection, or is it conduction? I can't remember. I'll do the full detail on that. So that's good to have in your hammock to keep your heat from being lost through your sleeping bag and all that. Struggling with taking my cooler. Ooh, if I do, I've got to wash this crap out of there. Been a while since I used that. I could take food in here. I can dump food at the camp cold, and I can go fetch beer with this and keep it cold. There's lots of options to keep open here, and I like to keep my options open, but this could be staying, could be going. But it also packs down really small too, so it's not like a rigid cooler. But that's an option. Another option, I'm taking water, so I'm taking these bladders one way or the other. But also I can drop my gear at the camp and have water the whole time I'm out there. Drop one of these bladders that's full of water, and then take the other, strap this onto my back, and I've got water as long as I'm riding. Leave all the rest of my gear at camp, and I'm riding. Also have water filter. I try not to go out in the woods nowadays if I'm going anywhere unknown, and I know there's going to be water there. I like to carry the water filter. Keep options. I go through a lot of water. I get really thirsty and all that. Anyway, last sleeping bag, and I'm just going to throw this over the bike here real quick. Keep it out of the. And then I've got to go. Everything that's going on this bike has to go in these two saddle bags, or it has to go on top. That's hammock and rainfly. Packs down pretty small. I also have a tent that I camp with occasionally, but it's so big and heavy that and I like swinging from a hammock. And this time of year, it's warm enough to swing from a hammock. So camp chair, I'll make a decision once I start packing this stuff up, but I don't know at this point what's going and what's staying. But so what I'm going to do now is start throwing all this crap in this bag, and then we'll see what happens. I'm going to see if I can get all this camping gear, hammock, etc., and my clothes in this other dry bag. and then into, yeah, it might actually go in there. Could be good. So, dry clothes. Yes, looking good so far. Yeah. It's going to take up this whole side of this bag if I can get it in there. Oh, it's going in there. Hell yeah. That is lovely. And I could put liquor in there too. Liquor? Hell, I hardly know her. If you don't know about dry bags, you need to know about dry bags. They're awesome, and they're a whole lot cheaper than they used to be. I think I picked this up for like 20 bucks. That green bag that I've had over there for years and years and years, I think I paid like 60 bucks for it. I think it's actually a little bit tougher than this guy, but this is plenty tough. Got all these tie down thingies here. This is pretty heavy and very valuable, so it's going in the saddlebag away from my exhaust. So liquor can go in there now, and other wet stuff can go in there now too. So let's try. Well, you know what else can go in here? A lot of stuff can go in there. I mean, I got a lot of room still. So put that in there. That in there. Yeah, that's really nice. So I got all that. And this food, I could get more food in there. Well, yes. Well, first aid. It'll be kind of a tight fit here, but it'll fit. It's a little heavy. Have to figure out a way to strap this chair down. But I don't see why I don't see why I can't take this up there. It'd be nice if I could get this chair a little bit closer up underneath the top case. Let me give that some thought. Strap this thing down. It's gonna be hell getting off this damn thing. Oh. It's just a really tall bike.
So I did manage to get the camp chair strapped down, although if I had to do it all over again, I would have strapped just the chair and not the leg extensions on there, and that's what caused the biggest problem this weekend. And coming up, I will share what happened as a result of me not strapping my my chairs down. I went down pretty hard and hurt myself pretty bad. Didn't break anything, I don't think, but I'm still healing from the injuries. But I still got up to the campsite and spent the night, but given my injuries and the inclement weather coming, I decided it was probably the best thing to do, just pack up after the one night before the hurricanes got there. So check out that video coming up soon, and I'll do a little bit more follow-up on moto camping and bushcraft and all the things that I really enjoy and would like to share with you guys. See you then.